Okay, finally I'm gonna make a video for you guys. I've seen this comment a gazillion times. Okay, I'm not gonna do the YouTuber thing where I show you all the times people have commented this, but people have commented a lot asking me, what is this mystery tape that I run on the front of my objective lenses? So today I'm going to show you guys, first of all, what that tape is. At the moment we don't have any of the tape on, but I'm going to show you guys what that is, how I apply it, how you determine how big your piece of tape should be, and then I'm also going to tell you and show you physically on the range what sort of benefits there are to running a little bit of tape on the front of your objective. So pretty much, no, we can't just go straight into it, we need to watch the intro. Okay, so for a while now, this was sort of just something that I did after I shot one of my very first matches, and I had this sort of broken wall with these holes in it, and I put my Razor AMG through it and it just went and it like scratched the whole front of my objective lens. And I was like, I just spent a lot of money on a really nice optic that was luckily no, not luckily. Unfortunately, I wasn't sponsored by Vortex at the time. And even though that doesn't affect the function of your optic, I do find that it makes you a little bit more sort of hesitant to just run your gun, you know. So then what I started to do, I went to a hardware store and I found anti-slip tape. Now it's very important that you buy the right anti-slip tape, because if you buy one that's really thick, it's going to struggle to form to the contours that we have here, and we might actually find that today because it is a little bit chilly out here on this Friday morning. So how you determine the size, you take the diameter of your objective lens. Okay, in this case I'm using a Vortex Viper PST5 to 25 by 50. Now the by 50 means the size of your objective lens. You take that, you times it by pi, and it's basically going to take that objective lens, roll it out for you, and that is how long your piece of tape should be. So I cut the tape, and then very nicely I cut the little edges off that we don't have any edges to hook on something. Now, pro tip, this by the way is for a 56mm objective, so it's going to be a little bit long. Okay, I'm going to start on the other side and sort of roll it in, and my goal here is to basically, I don't have the sunshade on at the moment, but my goal here is basically to, if I can, make it to this sort of line where the angle changes, but I want it as much as possible to the front as I can. And I'm going to start with this piece of tape on the underside of my optic and be very careful to match that line here at the front. We're going to come around nicely, just like that. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to stick that. Now, if you're having trouble with this section, which can be problematic, you kind of have to thread it in. And as I said earlier, this is for a 56mm Razor, so it's going to be a little bit long. You don't need it to be completely underneath your scope, right? Because nothing's going to scratch your scope right here. So if you sort of end there and there, that's pretty much going to be fine. So what I'm probably going to end up doing is tuck this and see how much I can go. And then if it overlaps a little bit, it's not going to be the end of the world for me. And I'm probably just going to use some form of tool to lift that up. I'll probably just take my knife just now and lift that up. Now, sometimes if you step over to the back here, you'll see that there's a little bit of a line here now, because that angle's changing for us. Our tape's a little bit too thick, this little line here. That aesthetically, it doesn't look great. So if you want to get that line perfect, take your mom's or your wife's or whoever's hairdryer, heat this sucker up nicely, and you should be able to tuck this in without getting that little fold. So I'm not going to worry too much about that because I want this piece to be perfect. But I will go back with the hairdryer and not superheat my scope to have anything go wrong inside there, but just warm that tape up nicely, and you should be able to stick it on without any of these sort of bubbles. Right, so if we step over to our shooting position, let me get rid of this guy. We're not going to need that. I will need these, however. Let me park this just down there. I'll pop my EarPro on for us. By the way, I got a new car this week. It's behind me. I'm super pumped, and I'm incredibly grateful for how well the channel's been doing, and I want to thank every single one of you for watching our videos. It wouldn't be possible without you guys, so thank you so much. What I want to do for you is do a car review video, because it could be pretty cool. So let me know in the comments down below if you want to see a car review video, and no Land Rover jokes, please. Okay, mag is going to go in. So, for example, if we walked over to this aperture section, let me just turn myself on here so that I don't start screaming. Oftentimes, you are presented with an obstacle such as this, where your rifle has to go in somewhere. Now, if you sort of have a worry in your mind that, oh, I don't want to scratch my scope, then you might approach this a little bit more conservatively. Whereas if I know my scope is pretty much protected, if I'm getting here and there's any of that, that's pretty much why that tape is there. Okay, I've way overdone that now. Damn it. But that's kind of how it goes. So if there's any of this happening on your rifle, this is going to protect the front of your objective really well. Let me pull that out for you guys. And now I know what you're going to say. Camera goes in front of a gun. Yes, this is movie magic. We pulled the bolt and the mag since you got there. And the reason we did that in true Pete Skeet fashion, no, that's not the name of this channel anymore. Channel's Impact Shooting. Just kidding. I overdid it on the first one and pretty much ripped off the whole piece of tape because I was overdoing it, as we do most things on this channel. So that's really why I have the scope tape there, just to sort of take my mind off scratching my optics. Even though I am sponsored by Vortex, as I've said, which I'm extremely thankful for, I still don't want to trash my stuff. So even on a obstacle like this, and now we're actually going to do some shooting. Let me just get my bag again. As always, today's video is sponsored by our friends over at Modular Driven Technologies. If you want to pimp out your Howa 1500 like I have, head on over to mdttech.com. The same thing applies here, and this is a great example where you could use a pinch point like we've spoken about in the precision rifle course, and now it's metal on metal, and it's really going to scratch that optic. Got a nice bit of wind to deal with here. Okay, so even on the recoil, the rifle's recoiling, if I was to pinch that against and it was touching, just that little bit of recoil, the sort of grip tape's going to help you too. Also makes for a really nice place to hang onto your rifle, and probably people will say you shouldn't do that. But if you're shooting a rifle scope that's mounted and you can't hang onto your rifle like this without losing zero, then you probably need to look at getting a Vortex. Anyway, that's sort of the mystery scope tape. It's a really inexpensive little upgrade to protect your scope that you've invested in, and I highly recommend them. I actually sell these so that you don't have to buy a whole roll, and it's a really nice little value add to just save your stuff that you've invested in. So anyway, finally that question answered. I want to thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed, always down here. If you want to check out our precision rifle training, that'll be down here. And if you want to just see us run some guns in matches and have a lot of fun, click up here. Also, please share this video with at least 7 friends. Thank you for watching. Bye.